we will kick it off here. These are 12 of our last questions that were submitted by students. We got these fielded in from multiple outlets on social media, coming in from Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook. So once again, thank you, students, for reaching out. The first one is, how do we drop classes? This is something that some people may be doing for the first time, or something new that a college student is experiencing. So like the other forums, if you could just please raise your hand, or uh, just kind of wave toward the camera if you can give some advice or opinions on this. And then once again, if you are a student and you're kind of going through some of the same thing, and you want to also just kind of share that you're in the same boat, just kind of please also voice in. I know that on Canvas, towards the top, there's been a banner that has been giving off multiple informations and printed information regarding this sort of information, such as drop and withdrawing. I think the withdrawal date just got moved to the last day of the semester, which is the 13th. So that is something that goes on with that. I'm just giving 1 second here. All right, Amanda, if you could please unmute. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Sorry, it took me a second to make sure I had all the right things pulled up to make sure I inform you all. So to drop a class, so you're right, the last day to withdraw from a class has been extended to the last day of the semester, which is May 13th. So that's not typical. We're giving students some extended time because we know that this has just been a challenging semester for so many reasons. So we're wanting to give students a little bit more time to decide, maybe giving you all that extra time. Maybe you can get your grade up so you don't have to withdraw from a class. But if you do have to withdraw, you have until Wednesday, May 13th. And what we're having students do is you can send an email from your preferred email address that you have on file with Northeast to admissions and registration at northeast.edu. And this is in the frequently asked questions on the COVID-19 site, the student frequently asked questions. But if you email admissions and registration at northeast.edu and include your name, student ID, course name, and course registration number, and again, this is all under those frequently asked questions, so I know that's kind of a lot of info, but they will be able to help you with drop that class. But we really want you to talk with your advisor before you do that, because withdrawing from a class can impact things like financial aid, graduation, all of those types of things. So make sure that you're having a conversation with your advisor before you drop that class to know the impact on everything. And one thing that I can share, I'll be sending an email out to all students with this new information, but we have decided to allow students the option of changing if you got maybe a C, really it's an A, B, or C, but I don't know why you would want to do it if you have an A. But say you have a 4.0 GPA and you don't want to get a C, and you feel like that's going to impact your GPA you've worked so hard for, but this semester was just crazy, and so you want to take a pass instead. So you could change that C to a P and get a pass grade. Now there's a lot of things that go into that conversation as well. So we're going to have students talk to advising at northeast.edu, send an email to them and a conversation with them before you change that, because if you're transferring, some colleges, they'll automatically take that as a C grade. But the good thing about potentially taking that P instead of maybe a C is it might help out your GPA overall. Athletes, if you're wanting to be eligible next year, athletes shouldn't take a class as a pass. They really need that grade. So there are just a lot of things to take into consideration. But we have just made this decision and are communicating it out to students tomorrow. So you guys are kind of the first to know that we're giving this as another option for students. And I'll have instructions in an email that goes out to all students on how to do that tomorrow. And I'll also add information in the students' frequently asked questions on the COVID-19 page as well. So that was a lot of info for you. So students, if you guys have some follow-up questions, let me know, or faculty and staff, if you all have some additional things to share that I might not have thought of, please add in.
Michelle, I see you have your hand up. I have you unmuted, so just go ahead.
Yeah, I just tag on with what Amanda said. I think it's a conversation that you as a the student need to have with an advisor to make the best decision. And I would imagine the idea of transferability, which Amanda brought up, can be a concern, but I guess I would assure you that we've got on paper from UNL and the UNL system, the state college system, which would include Wayne and Chadron and Peru, along with quite a few others, that P will be recognized as meeting requirements for programs should you be transferring if you're a one-year method. Now, I can't guarantee you that across the entire United States that will be valid, but there are more institutions that are accepting the P as a C around. So, I mean, I guess I would say I think you can feel pretty comfortable if that is the route that you choose because it's the best choice for you. Just to add that part in, because that would be a concern if it was me and I was taking a P. I would want to know that that class would transfer. But like Amanda said, you need to be careful if you're a student athlete because Ps aren't universally accepted as a C, they're accepted as a D. So you want to make sure that you have that conversation if that alleviates some of the questions that people might have.
Okay, definitely. Thank you. And Stacy, with financial aid, how does this new information kind of factor in? Or the first question, even dropping a class, how does that affect financial aid for students, either full-time or part-time?
Yeah. There's no change to their existing federal financial aid that they've earned this semester, but it does impact your completion ratio. Your completion ratio is calculated by taking your cumulative earned hours divided by your cumulative attempted. And to stay in good standing with federal financial aid, you have to have it at 67% or higher. So depending on what your situation is, it may impact that. And a pass grade is in our satisfactory academic progress policy already. So we do count a pass grade in your completion ratio.
Okay, definitely. That ratio is something I really haven't heard a lot of. So that's great that you shared it with us. Thank you so much. So definitely talk to your advisors if this is something that you are thinking about, even if it's something that you're certain you're going to do, that it's going to help you out. Talk with your advisor first, because just don't tread out into that water openly. Next, we have another question going on. Oh, before I go on, I see that Kara raised your hand.
I just wanted to say, as a faculty member and thinking about a GPA, if you know that you are not going to be successful in a class, for me, I would much rather have a W on my transcript than to have an F on my transcript. So now is the time to be thinking about talking with your faculty, talking with your instructors, saying, you know, what you can do if you can pass this class. If it's not feasible to pass the class, then I would go ahead and contact and do that W. For me, on my transcript, I would much rather have a W than an F. Especially financial aid and those kind of things. It's still an incomplete, you know, it still affects future financial aid and, you know, all of that. So that's, I just
Right.
wanted.
And I think if you retake the class, the same class, it replaces the grade that you get, or the W that you earned on your first withdrawal. So if you were to retake it the next semester, or even in the summer classes are coming up too. Some classes are offered in that format. So talk with your teacher, see if it's something that is a route for you. Paul, I see that you want to get your hand in, so go ahead.
I just want to make sure all students understand what we're talking about. A W means that you withdrew from the course, you don't have an F, it doesn't affect your GPA. A P just means you passed the course. So if you have an A, don't sweat it. If you have a B and you're trying to maintain a perfect 4.0, you can take the P. And if you have a C, you can take the P. But below that, you would need to withdraw in order to avoid getting a failing grade, or just so we understand all these letters.
Okay, and so